Welcome on into the Cougar Tracks Podcast, powered by KSLSports.com. I am your BYU insider, Mitch Harper. Happy as always to have you on board of the podcast wherever you're listening, watching the show. Appreciate you being on board with us today. Fall camp day 11 is a wrap. We were at practice for 20 plus minutes. It was a good observation size. I had it about 28 minutes. It was a really good sample size to see what took place at practice today. I'll share my thoughts from practice here in this podcast, and then also, break down the BYU cornerback unit as I caught up with General Guilford, but also we'll hit on the quarterback battle as well. Share my thoughts as the Cougs are in week 3, about to take a break, and then get back to it on the back end of the week. So we'll break it all down here on the show, and you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, X, at Mitch_Harper. Follow KSL Sports on all the socials, at KSL Sports. Download the KSL Sports app and subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Overcast, and YouTube. We're available anywhere, and so make sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star rating. So the quarterback battle, of course, becomes, well, it's not becoming, it is the hot topic, as always, during fall camp. And it's getting to the point where everyone's just, thinking this. Let me know. Can you imagine asking A-Rod that popular TikTok sound and then going pure future mode? Does A-Rod love the way that Bear throws passes in a tight window? Does A-Rod love the way Hillstead can run the football? Let me know. Just go future mode. I've often thought of that in my head in a media scrum. How would the coaches or players respond if you just started to throw down a different voice? Just let us know the quarterback update. Who's going to be that starter? Or just asking a question in like a famous celebrity's voice. Excuse me, Kalani, that guy with a number 47. Let me know. Well, Aaron Roderick did let us know a little bit. He did say that Bear Bachmeier and McCae Hillstead are both taking the first team reps. And Bear, on Tuesday, got a majority of those reps. And here was my post-practice observations, instant takeaways from the student-athlete building earlier today. Here's that sound from post-practice, some of the observations, and then I'll dive a little bit deeper, get a little more granular with those observations a little bit later here in the show. So here's some post-practice observations from day 11 that include some tidbits about the quarterback. BYU football fall camp day 11 recap. We got about 28 minutes of practice observation. It was really insightful observation period, I thought, again, here in Provo, Utah, at the Zions Bank practice fields. And the most noteworthy thing, of course, was at quarterback. And coming out of Saturday's scrimmage where BYU, the offense struggled. The coaching staff was very candid. There was a lot of intrigue of how the reps would be divvied up with the quarterbacks, and the only quarterback in the media observation portion that we saw get first-team reps was true freshman Bear Bachmeier. And Aaron Roderick and Kalani Sitake were asked if that meant, Bear Bachmeier is going to be QB1. Aaron Roderick noted that, Bear got a majority of the first-team reps today, and then McCae's getting some as well. So both of those guys getting first-team reps with this offense. And it's almost an indirect way of saying those are the top two guys right now as they try to pare this thing down and getting ready for Portland State coming up. But within those first-team reps for Bear Bachmeier, he had an excellent pass to Utah transfer tight end Carson Ryan. It was a tight window, beautiful ball on the run. It was excellent pass from Bear Bachmeier. Honestly, I thought it was the best pass that he's had in the media windows during fall camp. And I thought that was a wow moment. And I'll just add, too, with these quarterbacks, there hasn't been many wow moments with these guys. And it's kind of led to this feeling of, Mitch, you seem kind of down and out on the QBs. No, it's not that. It's just, and Aaron Roderick's talked about this, and Kalani's talked about this.
there's a high standard of what great quarterback play is. These coaches and the fans, you the fans watching, like, you know what a great quarterback is. And myself covering this program, I've seen Zach Wilson, I've seen Jaron Hall operate. And, no one's looked like that. I'm not saying they need to be, NFL guys right now. But there just needs to be those wow moments that make you think and project they could be some big-time talents. I thought Bachmeier looked excellent during his first-team reps, and that pass to Carson Ryan was a big standout. The first quarterback that we did see today was McCae Hillstead, but he was with the second-team offense, and there was a decent screen pass from McCae, but there weren't many shots downfield. He had a good ball downfield that was attempted to Rowan Ray, but it was in coverage. Marcus McKenzie was there, and it sailed out of bounds. But that was really the only deep pass that we saw from McCae Hillstead. He had a quarterback keeper that the defensive line pretty much checked at the line of scrimmage. Trayson Bourget was also getting some snaps with the second-team offense again. And keep in mind, with the quarterback, Aaron Roderick noted, Bachmeier, McCae Hillstead as those quarterbacks getting the first-team reps today. Kind of going over to the defensive side, a player that caught my attention, he was operating in the Sam linebacker spot, was Ephraim Asiata, sophomore, out of Hunter High School, Harriman High School. Ephraim, I feel like he's found a home at Sam linebacker, and that's noteworthy considering this linebacker unit is deep. It's talented with all the stars with Isaiah Glasker, Jack Kelly, Cialia Serra, Che Bryant Strother, Ace Kafusi. But I think there's going to be a role for Ephraim Asiata at that Sam linebacker spot. And look, he could be very versatile. He could play off the edge. He can do a lot of different things. But with his body type, I think Sam linebacker is a great spot for him. And I think he's going to thrive in that space. I thought Asiata looked really good today. Viliami Pauha and Logan Latui at defensive end. I think Viliami, he's that versatile John Nelson, Blake Mangelson type where he could play at defensive end, the traditional Tyler Batty spot, or he could swing inside to go to that D tackle position. But I thought that combination was very interesting, I thought, with what looked to be the first-team defensive line. We also saw Tausilia Kana getting some run with the second-team defense. And you've heard my opinions of him. I think Tausilia's going to be a special football player for BYU in the pass rush. And that was a group that got high praise over the weekend with the scrimmage and the defense dominating the day. Other notes with the defense, Tommy Parasis had a tackle for loss. And Parasis, as you heard in my conversation with him on the Cougar Tracks podcast, he talked about how he could play free safety, strong safety, and he feels so much more comfortable this season in the defense in his second year. And I always got to remind myself of that, like true freshmen that I full disclosure, like I'll buy into the hype of a true freshman completely. And I have a track record of that, but just the growth you see from freshman to sophomore years, it's significant. The game does slow down for these guys, and I think that's happening for Tommy Parasis. With the first-team defense, though, at safety, because that position, as Jay Hill has noted, it's been a bit of a dogfight. We did see Raider DeMooney and Tanner Wall on the back end of the defense during the media observation portion of practice on Tuesday. No update on potential BYU running back Hinckley Folau Ropati. Kalani Sitake was asked about him in post-media scrum. He didn't have any updates, still waiting on the NCAA to make a decision on Folau. But he was here at practice wearing a straw hat, kind of lending his veteran insight to the running backs. And I think that's noteworthy because this running back unit, it's a little bit thin compared to what it could have been with Pokaiawa Honga, but still I think the top end of the running back unit with LJ Martin and Sione Moa, this is going to be a good ground attack, but they got to stay healthy. If you have to dig into that depth, that's where things can maybe get a little bit thin potentially for BYU. I thought, a guy that did catch my attention deep in the running back unit was Lucky Finau, nephew to Kalani Sitake, getting a little more run at running back. He made that change last year to the running back position from linebacker. He's found a home there, but we did see him get some work with what looked to be the third-team offense on Tuesday. Then before we close it out here from day 11 of BYU football camp, we saw some reps to Emerson Geilman, quarterback who expected to be the fourth-string quarterback, which I kind of found that to be noteworthy because we know that every snap in practice is significant, especially when it's a quarterback battle. I thought it was just kind of noteworthy at this juncture of camp that they did give snaps to a guy that's probably the fourth-string quarterback. But still, I thought Geilman looked pretty good. He had a nice pass on the run. That was a good completion. Then he had some throws that were just good decisions, throwing it away, making the right decision for a young true freshman. he was around spring practice, observing every practice, but this has been his first experience with D1 football. But I just thought it was noteworthy again that Geilman has shown some film that I think, this coaching staff can invest in him after he plans on serving the mission after this upcoming season. But that's going to do it for this recap here from the Zions Bank practice fields here in Provo.
There you go. That was some instant reaction to post-practice observation or practice observation on Tuesday. I do want to clarify one thing. It wasn't Rowan Ray that the pass was intended for. It was actually LeMason Waller. So I stand corrected on that. I had it mistyped on my notes, the name, but it was LeMason Waller, number 15, not Rowan Ray. So I apologize on that. But a little bit more detailed notes from Tuesday's practice. Again, observing from the balcony at practice. I wanted to go over some of these tidbits with practice. So McCae was the first quarterback out in media availability around 10:58 a.m. He was with the second team offense. He did have a nice screen pass, as I noted, to open that portion of practice. He also had a pass that he threw away. He also had a screen pass attempt that was tipped by number 20, Cannon DeVries, who continues to have, I think, a really solid camp for a freshman. And you'll hear from General Guilford coming up a little bit later. I asked him about Cannon DeVries, but a very good football player who's got a bright future ahead at BYU. Trayson Bourguet was with the backup offensive line. And on the other side, going up against him on the defensive line, I thought it was an interesting combination of some names there. Kenny Laufonahema getting some second-team opportunities. I think that's significant for the former Springville standout, as adding weight has been a big priority for him since he arrived on campus last fall. Getting some second-team opportunities for Fonahema. So that, I think, is something to keep tabs on down the road. Kalepi Latofino, a guy in the interior, and then Tausilia Kana as well. Safety Peyton Van Stankeenste. I hope I'm saying that right. I have to go double-check the pronunciation on Peyton, his last name. But he had a nice hard hit in the media observation portion. Saw Kevin Doe and Jordan Chris, a pair of young cornerbacks. Kevin Doe, number 31. I didn't talk to Coach Guilford about Kevin Doe, but really good football player that's learning. I think maybe really more of an athlete, but he's becoming a football player. And look, I don't look to him to be a guy that's contributing this year, but his speed, like many guys in that cornerback unit, there is a lot of speed, and Kevin Doe has that. He's still learning the game of football. Remember, he came in from East High School, former wide receiver, never really played much football, more a track and field guy, still learning the game. Only sophomore season, redshirt sophomore season. Young guy, still kind of deep on the depth chart, but one to keep an eye on down the road. And, of course, Jordan Chris, a true freshman who joined during the fall semester. Trayson Bourguet had a nice quick pass to New Mexico State transfer Ethan Wood. I thought that was a good ball from Bourguet. Another deep cut along the defensive line. We saw Kendall Wall a little bit at defensive end along with Kenny Laufonahema. Wall currently listed on the roster at defensive tackle, but did see a little bit of D-end work for him. I think long-term, his best situation is probably to be at D-tackle, add more weight to his frame, but maybe giving a little bit of film and a little bit of a sample to what he could be at D-end. I think Kendall Wall's got a bright future ahead, again, down the road. Mountain Ridge High School prospect. I thought, honestly, among the freshmen that signed in December, I thought he was one of the ones that maybe could make an impact this year. Maybe that's not going to be the case. I look at more of a Ulavai Fetuli from La Habra, California, to be more of a impact freshman, true freshman along the defensive line, but, Latu Finau as well. So there's been some intriguing young prospects that could show some flashes that translate over to the fall this season. Bear Bachmeier, something of note, too, that I didn't mention in the instant reaction. Not only was he with the first-team offense, he was going up against the first-team defense, and he had a good ball in the run, when he was running to the right, over the middle to JoJo Phillips. I thought that was a really good ball. But the pass to Carson Ryan was the highlight of the day, and it was a wow moment, as I noted. It was a really good throw. I posted it on X, courtesy of the video from BYU athletics, and it was a really impressive pass that Bear Bachmeier tossed to Carson Ryan. Viliami Puha, Logan Latui at defensive end, as I noted, along with Keanu Tanavasa and John Talmoipeu along that first-team defensive line contending against Bear Bachmeier. One thing I will say about Bears' portion that we saw in practice, the drive did stall in the red zone. There was a nice run from L.J. Martin inside the red zone, and then it stalled. And then they didn't finish the drive with a touchdown. So, again, little things like that, splitting hairs maybe a little bit, but when you're talking about a quarterback battle, you got to finish the drive, get it done. And that was something that things kind of stalled a little bit in the red zone. Maybe that's a little bit of a mental note to take away coming out of that. But by all accounts, I thought Bear looked really good. And I will say, this isn't solely day 11. This was also last week when we got to see McCae Hillstead with the first-team offense. He looked really good with the first-team offense as well. And so you've seen two quarterbacks in the media sessions where both guys with first-team opportunities have performed well. I thought Bear's performance on Tuesday was probably the best that I've seen from a quarterback in camp to this point. But I also think that McCae Hillstead last Tuesday with the first-team offense performed well as well. So I think that's promising, but things evolve. When you got a scrimmage sandwich in there in between and the scrimmage where the offense as a whole did not perform great, and one of the guys that was part of one of the two touchdowns, Bear Bachmeier, connecting with Cody Hagan, maybe that helps him a little bit in this pursuit of being that QB1 when BYU takes on Portland State 18 days from today. Some other notes, Ace Kafusi, he had a tackle for loss on Sione Moa. Love what I'm seeing from Ace Kafusi. Going to be really good this season for BYU. On the right side of the offensive line, we saw a little bit different than what we've seen when it's the full first-team offense. Kyle Safarachuk at first-team right guard. Austin Leausa, first-team right tackle. Andrew Gentry was there. He was suited up. Waylon Lapuaho, maybe a case of sitting out again. Aaron Roderick noted that earlier in camp that they would be kind of delicate with Waylon to get him ready for the game. So not unexpected there, but a little bit of a different look to get some first-team reps to those guys. Leausa is one of the more versatile guys along the offensive line. Same with Safarchuk, who could really play any of the 5 spots along the offensive line for BYU. Another defensive end combo that caught my attention, Bodie Schoonover, Hunter Clegg. This coming on the heels of Kalani Sitake talking about how Bodie, could be a guy that could swing inside at D tackle. We did see him in the media window at defensive end. Some of the deep cut offensive line groupings, Siaua Latufina at left tackle, Trevin Ostler left guard, Trevor Pay at center, Joe Brown right guard, and Caden Chittister at right tackle. Sonny Tuwala, a defensive end, dabbled with defensive tackle in the spring. Now he's at defensive end. He got a pressure to force McCae Hillstead to throw the football away. Same with Feta Uli, who I noted earlier. He got a pressure on Hillstead. He was looking downfield, Hillstead was, but then ended up going to his check down to Javesa Damuni. Trey Roberts, who had a touchdown grab on Saturday in the scrimmage, he got a reception from Hillstead. And then Parasis also had, Tommy Parasis, safety. He had a hard hit on Anthony Olsen. Really good play. Kind of a little bit of a tough hit, but again, Parasis is going to be good. He is a hard-hitting guy at the back end of the defense. I love what I saw from Falatau Satuwala, Raider DeMooney, Tanner Wall. Some good talent at that safety spot. And then you still got the veteran of the team, Talon Alfrey, as that 5th guy. And then the last tidbit I'll share from practice, a deep cut. Charles Miska, a running back, number 34, he had a nice shifty move on Nusi Talmoipeu in the open field to get extra yards. But that's the notes from BYU football fall camp, day 11 practice. After practice concluded, I caught up with BYU cornerbacks coach General Guilford. Always enjoy my conversations with Coach G. He's a stud. He's fantastic. He's a key piece to Jay Hill's defense, and he got an elevated role with the staff. Like it's the same operating procedure for him as it was last year, but heavily involved with the structure, the game plans, the strategy for pass defense within this BYU defense. And I think it's significant that, doesn't matter who the defensive coordinator is, Coach G has really cemented himself as, I think, an excellent cornerbacks coach at BYU, and he's done a really good job assembling talent at cornerback, but still tall task by replacing Jacob Robinson and Mark Collins, two excellent cornerbacks. This was my chat with Coach G after practice on Tuesday, breaking down his cornerback group.
Practices roll on, and here now with cornerbacks coach General Guilford. And coach, week 3 of camp, I think day 11 now, it's the dog days of camp. How would you assess how your cornerbacks have performed in a group that needs to replace two guys that were excellent last season?
Yeah, I think we've been playing pretty good. I have about 5 or 6 guys who've been making plays. We haven't done everything to 100%, but at the same time, guys are competing, and that's really all we can ask for. Continue to get better every day. As long as they're doing that, I think by the time game 1 comes, we'll be all right.
Has Maury Bama gotten better every day?
Yes, he has. He's just a few assignments away from having a perfect camp. You know what I mean? So, which is a great thing. And he's my senior. Senior of the group between him and Dunlap. But so those guys have to teach the young guys how we do it here. So.
Has he taken the throne, as we talked about in spring ball, as far as Maury being challenged to take the throne of the position?
Yeah. He definitely has. He communicates more. He's opened up as far as like his personality and stuff, just being more open to talk to guys, teaching guys and stuff like that. So it's been a blessing to have him and a blessing to get his year back.
You mentioned that there's about 5 guys. I'm curious to a few of them. Trey Alexander, we haven't seen him as of late in media windows. How's he doing health-wise? Is he going to be okay? Like, what's the status there with Trey?
Yeah. No, he's back. He practiced. He practiced yesterday and today as well. I mean, he was nicked up, so we had to sit him for I want to say he sat for 2 or 3 days or whatever the case may be. But you can definitely know when Trey's out there just because his personality, his character. You gonna hear him. You gonna see him. He brings so much passion to the game every single day and every single play, and that's a great thing about him.
Is that passion and talent? Is it going to be hard to keep off the field this year in year 2 for him?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And again, we're gonna do it by committee this year. I mean, it's gonna be a few guys who are going to play, but the expectation, the standards is not going to change. No matter from 1 all the way down to 6 or 7. As far as the coaches go, we expect the same outcome regardless of who's in. So yeah.
Evan Johnson missed spring ball, but he's looked really good. I mean, it seems like he was really improved last year. Yeah. Where's been the areas of focus in the development of Evan from being just an elite speedster athlete to now a power 4 cornerback?
Yeah. I mean, he's always had the athletic side of things as far as the size, the speed, and everything like that. So I think missing spring was actually a blessing for him because he got a chance to kind of sit back and see it from a coach's view. You know what I'm saying? So his football IQ grew so much, being able to sit back and watch his brothers play and stuff like that, and seeing when things are going to come, seeing certain formations and route concepts and alignments and stuff like that. So he got a chance to see those things every single day from a coach's view, and I think that just made him a better overall player.
Who are some of those other guys that factor into the 5 that you maybe trust going in to Portland State coming up here in a few weeks?
Yeah, from Maury to Trey to Evan. To Dunlap, to Marcus McKenzie, those 5 are all making strides every single day and getting better and better. And we know we lost 2 great ones that knew the defense, that made plays every single day, that always play consistent. So the guys know we have to build it and we have to play as a unit now. You know what I mean? Because we don't have those 2 senior guys who have been in the program for 4 and 5 years and stuff like that. So it's going to be pivotal that we come together as a unit and play as a committee.
Following up on Marcus McKenzie, is it similar like Evan, where he's kind of benefited from maybe taking some time off due to recovering from injuries last year? Has that helped him in his development going into his redshirt sophomore year?
Yeah, for sure. And the thing about it is everybody clicks at a different time. You know what I mean? It can be the same guy, the same speed, same athletic ability. Some guys get it in year 1. Some guys don't get it to year 5. You know, but the thing is, especially being in a Kalani-led program, stay with them every single day, and eventually it's gonna come. So we're just taking our time. I'm working with him every single day, and he's getting better and better every day.
Common thread with all these guys is like elite speed. I mean, just when you look around the talent, this is year 10 for you here. I mean, this has been a build where you've had a lot of talented corners through your time, but this look, I mean, is this maybe the fastest your cornerback unit's been since you've been here as the coach?
Oh, for sure. It's not even close. Like out of those 5, 4 of them can really run, and then the 5th one can run, but what he doesn't bring from the athletic speed standpoint, he has the highest IQ. So it's a balance between them all, you know, because they all talk, and he brings some IQ, they bring the athletic ability, and when they all mix it up, we become a pretty good unit.
And that IQ is Dunlap?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's just one of the natural corners who've been doing it for a long time. So he's when he can be consistent, he'll be a guy that's going to be hard to keep off the field as well as those other 4. So it's definitely a blessing to have that group of guys.
Last couple of moments here with Coach Darrell Guilford, heading to his 10th season here in the BYU football program, is on Kalani's staff. And I did want to ask you, kind of just a young guy, and I'm sure it's going to take time for him, but Cannon DeVries, came in as a safety, but he's playing corner, and there's been moments where he's played a little bit inside. What's the latest on Cannon, his development?
Yeah. So he's playing nickel, and I do use him as far as a corner sometimes, as far as the outside, but mainly the nickel. And he's been doing a good job, man. Again, he'll be a freshman because he just got here. You know what I mean? Yeah. But definitely shows signs and signs of being physical, being fast, and another guy who can run. A guy who's a football guy, so his football IQ is higher than people think it is. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely fits in our room as well, as far as from that nickel position with him and with Cabea and Tavion Beasley. So we have a good group there too. The guys are just working, competing. But yeah, he's definitely a good one, and he'll be a good one.
And last thing, just to follow up on, have you seen that leap in second year from Cabea? And then also, just what did you like in Tavion Beasley to bring him in the spring portal window?
Definitely seen the leap from Cabea, and he's done a good job as far as the off season, man. Just working with Jay every day, watching film and stuff like that. Just learning the defense, and then Eddie Heckert is here working with him as well. So he played in his defense 4 or 5 years. He knows everything about it as far as the small intricate things as far as from that nickel spot. So that's a good job of bringing him in and helping with Johnny and Cannon and all the nickels and stuff like that. So yeah, and then you asked me one more thing. I can't remember.
And then just Tavion Beasley, I mean, Southern California ties, I'm sure that maybe played a role, but what'd you see in Tavion from his San Diego State film that said he'd be a good fit here?
Yeah, I actually recruited him out of high school. It didn't really work out, so he ended up going with Dion, to Jackson State, then went to Colorado with him, and then he ended up going to San Diego State, and things weren't really working out, and we felt like we needed depth at that position, so I told him he could come in and compete, and that's what it's all about. Nothing's going to be promised. Come in and compete. If you earn it, then you earn it. If not, just keep fighting. So.
Last thing, just how much are you enjoying being a part of this program with Kalani?
Oh, man, and Kalani, and just from the top to the bottom. I'm talking about, man, from the president to the AD, from Kalani to Jay Hill, from all the assistants, the GAs, the analysts, the volunteers. It's just a great place to be, and definitely doing some great things here. And I'm looking forward to what the Cougars can do for the next 10 years. You know what I mean? But no, it's definitely a great thing, especially when you're surrounded by great people.
Coach Janelle Guilford here on the Cougar Tracks Podcast. Again, always appreciate my time and conversations with Coach G. He's always a straight shooter. He always gives it to me real, and I appreciate that, man. And that's how he is with his players. He does not mince words. He tells them what it is, and he's going to give them every opportunity to compete for whatever role they want to obtain. But they got to go earn it. And I just think that this cornerback group could be really good. But as you heard, it's cornerback by committee, and there's no set stars right now. And maybe Maury Bamba could be that. There's been moments in game and practices, absolutely, but you got to do it every single week. You know, it's interesting when I go to practice and see today a couple Las Vegas Raiders, my Raiders, the Niners, the Dolphins, and you wonder, who are they looking at? Who are they looking at as far as BYU for NFL prospects? And I think, you know, someone like Maury Bamba has got to be intriguing because that guy looks the part of an NFL defensive back. Now he needs the film, though, and that's going to be the challenge in front of him, and what a luxury for him to get a medical redshirt year, to have one more crack at really evolving in his football career and being an absolute star for this BYU secondary that should be pretty good. Safeties are going to be really good. And there's a lot of pieces on this BYU defense that have the potential to be, once again, the number one defense in the Big 12. We shall see if that materializes in 2025. But again, thanks to Coach G for spending some time with me. That's going to do it, though, for this edition of the Cougar Tracks Podcast. I hope all of you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the show. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. Please, I'm telling you, do this. Spread the word about Cougar Tracks. Give a 5-star rating and a review. It would help me out a lot, and I would appreciate that if you did. We got to keep growing this thing, and it's going to be a lot of fun and exciting this fall. A lot of new platforms, a lot of new roles with Cougar Tracks. You are going to see this show a lot this football season. I'll have more this week on the podcast to discuss all of that. But I will talk to you next time here on the Cougar Tracks Podcast, and it's powered by KSLSports.com.